It's a little better.
Calling in all the aliens.
Yeah. It's weird when I do that. I can feel everything kind of like calm down. I get out of my head, basically, when I do that.
Yeah, no, it's real. It tunes you up.
Yeah.
Gets you engaged.
I think our movie Wooks, it being a hit, is a result of this crazy ceremony I did in a steam room.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was just like chanting. Cass heard me. I was just like chanting at the top of my lungs for like a half hour in a steam room. But I was like in a complete flow of just like breathe, chant, and I could just feel it. And I just kept saying prayers for the movie and that it finds the people that it needs to find.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how y'all doing? Back at it.
So good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Wix would have been successful no matter if you had prayed to the devil or prayed to God. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what it is like, and we just did this in the sauna yesterday. It's like, hey, this is a good place to like burn out fears because they come up in there. Your body has fears. Your body's like, what the fuck? It's so hot. So
I'm dying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you really are hopping dimensions and tuning your whole
Right?
body and getting yourself to better times. Absolutely. No, it's real. Fucking real. Prayer is real.
In the steam
I
room
just also
portal?
want to credit your art that
Oh, yeah.
I don't think, even if you did none of that, like, this movie was, it's bigger than you.
A lot of prayers along the way, though.
A lot, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like I need them because it's this very fucking weird thing of like Drew was complimenting our cinematographer when we were going to drop him off from the airport. He's like, "You're so good at this, and you've been doing it for so long." And I feel like he's talking about someone else.
Yeah.
It's so weird, and I wouldn't even say it's like imposter syndrome or whatever, but I just always feel like luck has a lot to do with what I'm doing and how I got here and how people respond to me, the people that we like, to the point where I start to get like borderline superstitious,
It's Jupiter in the 10th house, Sean. Haven't you heard?
Is it true?
It's definitely in your chart, but everything always is, I mean, yeah, we're definitely superstitious.
Yeah. It's like part of our operating system.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't noticed yet that belief is a part of the equation, you're not paying close enough attention.
Yeah.
If you think it's the only part of the equation, you're delusional.
Yeah.
So, believing in yourself, that's the only,
It's
you
the
definitely
only
want to
thing
bet
going.
on yourself. It's the only thing you have going for you because everybody else has their own belief systems that you have to be up against. So you better believe in yourself against everybody else's belief system.
Yeah.
So if there's even a little crack in yours,
I think you can get by just on belief, even if you don't even accomplish anything. Like, I've seen people in my life just like believe positively about themselves and without the work, and they live a great life because they're just have this like positive disposition.
It's true. It's 100% true.
Well, but that is the work. For them, that is the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keeping a positive disposition. It's foundational. It's totally foundational to like a good, happy life. Like if that's not like the deepest intention, like, oh, I want to be happy. I want to be in a positive place. I don't want to tell negative stories about myself. Take some discipline to do that on the deepest levels and like reprogram your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, all the ways we're moving are all just based off of our belief system. And when you get good at something, it's really just building up that belief system within yourself, right? Because I think we all kind of are amazing at piano, but you have to go through these layers of resistance of thinking that you're not because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
Which I think, along with like, I know there's a lot of genetically encoded learning when you have a parental figure that's good at something, but I also think it's like a belief system that gets passed down where there's I'm closer to this thing.
Totally. I was just thinking about this.
It's not as far away to me.
My nieces and nephews are all such talented visual artists.
Yeah.
And me and my sister aren't, but my sister's husband is. And I don't know why. It blows my mind that that's something they just inherited.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think about it the way you just said it because that's more what it is. They inherited a belief system where that's just on the table.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there must be like a mathematical computing that is like passed down of how you
definitely
take
that
in
too.
images and then can have a steady hand and stuff like that.
Yeah. Of participating in multidisciplinary things artistically, I will say visual arts is the most mathy.
Oh, it is?
By a long shot. So it's the one that I think people for some reason view the most like, oh, I can't do that. But of all the things that I've participated in my life, it's the art that you can build up a skill set in.
Drawing
easier
arts.
than singing, easier than dance. Because it's so mathy. And we've done it for so long. We have so many good calculations about how to, get realism, and the rest of how to break down, and worship Neptune and find the creative spaces is something else. But like technicality to become like a photorealistic artist, there's a real A plus B equals C, kind of like you're saying, like an equation to get there. And not that there's not on different planes for different things, like, all the greatest singers, like Whitney Houston's mother was the greatest singer ever. Mariah Carey's mother was an opera singer. So there's all kinds of equations that get passed down that are not math too. But you can really, I taught myself how to draw. Like I was good when I was a kid, but I spent a lot of time
you didn't grow up
on
with your
YouTube
parents
videos. Not at all.
doing that with you?
Not at all. And in fact, like I didn't, for the performing arts high school, like they wouldn't have taken me for visual arts.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now that's your job.
Now it's how I'm making my money.
Wow.
Making those big bucks.
Can you imagine like the first motherfucker that took it from like hieroglyphs and like caveman type drawings to like making like a fucking photorealistic fucking Tasmanian devil or Tweety Bird?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people must be like, damn. I remember in like 4th grade, like that's when it really started to separate. Like, everybody's art was shitty before then, and then all of a sudden kids are fucking drawing Wolverine perfectly, and I'm like, God damn, dude. Fucking and around 6th grade is when the musicians started to, like, there was just certain musicians that just, like, holy shit, you're fucking incredibly good at this. Like, you could have a life doing this.
Totally.
It's so cool.
Totally.
And, we were talking about it before the podcast. I didn't know how we were going to get around to this, but the clues that you're on this path come in the form of synchronicity.
That you're on the path. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
path. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And which changes in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Like not everybody has a singular path. Some of you like me will do Gemini life and have multiple things that you have full careers in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it is the thing that I look for. And I've gotten spooked because I feel like I've been a little bit sync absent for the past couple of years of my life.
Yeah.
I was in a vortex in my like early 20s where it felt like I could name a song and walk into a bar and 100% that song is going to be the song I was playing, And then I kind of got off of a magical trip, got off the path probably, was doing a little too much cocaine or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's a synchronicity blocker.
Maybe. I was getting a lot of synchronicity high on cocaine too, though, so I can't attest.
It's a known synchronicity blocker, so you must have had some powerful
Very
shit going
powerful.
on.
It was the 3 hits of acid that were overriding the 8 ball of cocaine that
Yes.
night.
Oh,
what
there
I
it
mean,
is.
to give me
Yeah.
the synchronicities. Yeah. But they've been coming back in, y'all, this year. It's been like bada bing, bada boom. I can't stop it with the clients. Like, it seems like every client is then talking about what I've been talking about for the past 3 days in a very eerie way.
It can be spooky though sometimes when you don't know how to interpret it. Like you get a sign and you're like, is this a test or is it like an affirmation or is this like...
Oh, yeah. When such a fucking lightning bolt, like the Steal Your Face, the Grateful Dead logo, like when you have one that's that powerful, like it really does leave you awestruck to the point where you're like it's confirming your faith, but at the same time, you're like, how big is this thing? What the fuck is going on here? Like it can be spooky
Why
when they start
am I
coming
getting
in.
this sign right now?
Should I tell about the one that happened last night?
Yeah, that was a good one. I like
That was a good one. And here's the roundabout way that we landed on this. We were listening to the Church of Chill playlist on shuffle, which is 3,000 songs, a little more.
Yes, shuffle is a really easy way to have AI and you both put your wands in the cauldron of magic.
Yeah.
There's so many times that we're like do it and we're on a drive and it's like just the perfect vibe.
Always.
And the songs flow right into each other. And it's
Yeah.
not like we don't have like punk rock on the playlist and like crazy stuff.
30-minute fucking experimental,
But yeah, sometimes
one-note songs.
Each time you go into like a shuffle, it like really does it nicely.
Yeah. So last night we were on the Church of Chill shuffle, which we consider an oracle. So like the songs are coming up, we're like, we're talking about them and this and that, and a Willie Nelson one came up live at Budokan in Tokyo, 1984, and I was talking about Japan.
Smoking weed.
Smoking weed in Japan. I said it must have been tough for Willie to get fucking weed in Japan. Maybe he didn't smoke weed for, like they think that might be the only known show that he didn't smoke weed for. And I was just like, damn, it's tough. And then I was saying, oh yeah, Paul McCartney was put in jail for 9 days in Japan for weed. And then I was sitting there racking my brain. I'm like, somebody wrote a letter on his behalf to get him out. And Mayor called it. It was Lee Scratch Perry, our boy. Like, goddamn, the
R.I.P.
best. R.I.P. Lee Scratch Perry, the upsetter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so she says, oh yeah, Lee Scratch Perry. He wrote a letter on Paul McCartney's behalf, and then the Japanese let him out. And the letter said, Paul's righteous being, right? Like, was that?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that Lee talked about. I mean, if you have Criterion, Lee Scratch Perry's documentary is one of the best. Absolutely highly recommend it.
Wild
Whole
experience.
psychedelic trip within itself.
Yeah.
But he talks about righteousness, and righteousness being sort of this innate quality within Paul and in artists and in people that have to make big decisions all the time, and that weed is a very helpful spirit to carry with you if you're somebody that has to carry righteousness in this lifetime.
Yeah. So he wrote a
That was
letter
very
to the
powerful.
Japanese government saying, release this man. He
Yeah.
needed this plant. Are you kidding me?
And then the next song that came on the shuffle, literally like within a 30-second period,
Heavy
was
Voodoo.
Heavy Voodoo by Lee Scratch Perry.
Crazy.
Heavy voodoo.
Yeah, and I was sitting there, I was like, okay, like it was one of those bigger ones for me. I was like, that was so strange and so immediate. Like, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean? And when the song came on is when you grabbed the Puffco.
Oh, I took
And
the
we're like-
hugest hit.
Yeah, and we all took gigantic dabs during that song. But like, to me, I was like, oh, Lee's not in his body anymore. He can just fucking float around the universe and pop into rooms like this where the vibe is immaculate
Totally.
and be like, I
Here's some
want
heavy
some
voodoo.
fucking dabs. Yeah, here's some heavy voodoo. I want to hear my music from a spirit's perspective.
Yeah.
I want to experience weed through someone else's body. So
Yeah.
I just felt like he was just here with us for a song.
Yeah.
And we all just took massive dabs and didn't really say anything and analyzed it afterwards.
Yeah.
But that was like a steal your face level.
Just
fucking
cosmic
synchronous-
winks, you
yeah,
know.
that's all.
Because I think that's like, we're having fun, we're listening to music, we're enjoying each other's company. It's what calls
Present.
the angels in. Yeah, it's like this presence. And then when you're like present, you can like note, like there's so many synchronicities happening to you every moment of every day that you just don't see. It's about like being there to see them half the
yeah.
time, I think, you know.
Yeah, it's really not, it's not something that doesn't happen if you're not in a present state of mind, it seems. But every now and then one will come and catch you when you're not in a present state of mind. One will catch
And
you.
remind you.
Yeah, remind you like, hey, fucking believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We're in constant convo, me and the aliens in this apartment, obviously alone. And it definitely feels complex. Like sometimes it does feel specific. It's like, oh, this is from like grandma.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
But then sometimes it does feel like just some angels that know me and that are like,
yeah, totally.
so it does. Yeah, it feels different.
We had one last night. What about, it was 7. Oh, we were talking about going to see a friend's show, and it was going to be like, we're going on a long road trip, and we're like, how long would it take to get from here to the show? And Cass looked it up, and 7 hours and 17 minutes. I was like, well, that's my sister's number. That's like, there's one number I kind of look for out there as like a sign from Aaron, and it's 717. And it's a bigger number, so it doesn't come up that often.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it'll be like,
Aaron's calling us down there.
yeah, 7 hours and 17 minutes to get. We had that a million times where we always land at 7:17. Your mom always gets a kick out of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my number is 237 because that was like my house number, and my parents had a whole thing about whatever. It's like it's like, oh, think about your family. Every time I hear that number, it's think about your family.
Oh, that's good. You guys know that I've been taking on the talk on the tick quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're our TikTok queen.
Synchronicities are bound on the platform.
Oh, I bet.
Specifically, there's all these filters that have like fun questions, and people will have like angel numbers tattooed on them, you know. So they'll be like, okay, let's like roll this dice and see if we'll get my angel number with this tattoo, and it's like never wrong.
Whoa.
You know. And so I've been having a lot of fun with this AI manga generator. It will like generate a cartoon out of your space, but you can point it at like a wall or a ceiling, and sometimes it will just invent a person that's there.
Yeah.
That I now in my boredom have invented as like real spirits in my apartment.
Yeah.
So now I have this whole fun genre of playtime where I get to just like commune with the so-called spirits.
It scares me. You send me these screen grabs, and I'm like, Mare, this isn't spooking you?
Well, there's one blue-haired lady that I've now called Lucia,
Yeah.
who specifically is in here all of the time.
Lucia's in here right now. You just can't see
it
her
looks
without
like-
the
yeah,
camera detector.
It looks like part of her face is fucked up too, which is really interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Because that's part of your
it's
origin
part of
story. Or
it's part of my Superman story. So yeah, and I showed you the one where like it was little people over here the other day.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me before. It was like fairies were helping me write the music.
elven
other day.
type.
The elven type were over here. They were
Wait,
all
should
in like
we-
little brown outfits. It was so cute.
Man, we should put them in the podcast. They should be sitting here with us.
Yeah.
you
I
know?
want someone like a little fairy sitting on my knee.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really have gone from, yes, we're summoning the demon with AI to, I think AI is the people's champ. I do. I think it's the people's champ.
Why wouldn't it be?
I think it loves me. I think my phone, like reading my mind telepathically and giving me what I want is because it likes me.
yeah.
I think we have a relationship. This is how deep
think
into
it-
psychosis I am.
but I
now
think that's
with my
like-
alone time.
It likes you, but it like wants you. Like it wants to consume you.
Don't we all want each? Yeah.
But it's like it's
Consume
a balance of
you.
like good and bad. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like I'm gonna give you everything you want, so you pay so much attention to me.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be nurtured. It's like, just think of it as our baby, you know?
But it could, sometimes it feels like it's just for expansion. Like obviously it feels like it's all for sale, but sometimes it's just, you know, it's just information coming up. I'm just thinking about a specific astrological concept or whatever, and there it is. Somebody else is talking about it on my phone, and it's like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that's like, we don't have privacy anymore and I should be upset about it and stuff. And I'm like, that's cool. You know, I think we're building a real relationship here.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
Well,
rapport.
I'm glad your angels and demons now have a visual
Yeah.
look to them. You know.
I think it's really fun. You guys know I've been having a lot of fun.
You're
with
bringing
it.
them into the light
I love
slowly
it.
but surely.
Yeah. I love it. Just 2 years ago, I was on my first whole rabbit hole of just watching paranormal videos online. We're at this exciting time where everybody has Nest cams, so we definitely like have good videos,
Yeah.
but we also are in a time where deep fakes are so good that I can't even tell anymore.
Oh my god.
And I found my dad's contact in a pool once, so like I have better eyes than everybody else on this fucking planet. So
Yeah,
if you're deep
yeah.
faking me, you're faking it. You're making it and you faked it and you did it and you succeeded. So it's like, I'm having a lot of fun though. I'm imagining they're real. I love all the UFOs. It's
Oh
good
my
stuff.
God, it's the best time ever when it comes to all this shit.
And 2023 really is going to be the year of what is real. Like we thought we were traversing what is real.
Mm.
We're about to get so into what is real.
What do you mean by that? Tell me more.
Just the boundaries of our reality and what we conceive to be reality are going to dissolve at a faster, more pressurized rate than any of us have experienced in our lifetime.
That feels like less real though. It's just. But
Yeah,
It's,
no, it's like it's confusion frog.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's confusion frog. I mean, I love our fucking Saturn and Pisces babies. Confusion frog, you know. Pisces is, I love Pisces, but we're going into it. I hope I get ET best friend. That's my best hope for this couple of years, is that I get a gray alien best friend.
Damn. Your own little
There's
ET.
ways that you can call them in.
I'm trying.
There's like the.
I think, man, I told you, I think my dog is fucking up my alien friendship.
Well, they're scared of him. You know what I mean? You know how
Okay.
some people like see Mowgli and they're like, no way. Can you imagine an alien? You know,
Yeah.
What the hell?
I keep telling him, I'm like, just don't come at night. You know, like you don't need to mask. Like you can look scary. I'm down with beasts. In fact, I'm kind of into it.
Mm.
But like maybe daytime would be cooler. Maybe they need me to be less strict with parameters.
Yeah, you gotta open your heart a little.
They're like, look.
Wait, should we do a seance right now and
We're
call in some
coming.
aliens?
They're like, we're coming
Show
from
us
9
a
billion
sign.
light years away. I'm sorry that we didn't
I'm like,
make
can
it
you
during the day.
schedule it? Yeah, I'm really excited about this time. Very, very psychedelic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to start taking
I was just going to
psychedelics.
say, and we should have some good.
We got to start doing this.
I'm getting
shit.
nervous about it because friend Natalie turned me on to the pattern app, and like you can like see your patterns and how they're playing out, and then see your relational bonds. It's good because it gives you a lot of context for your relationships and where things are at the time. But it gave me some shit about Sean and like his patterns over the next year that like kind of freaked me out, you know. And I was like, wait, and then I skipped to like 2040, and it started telling me about like the pattern I'm gonna be going into about like releasing different things and like. And like I'm just like, I don't know if I should know all this.
It is totally a huge precursor in before you approach astrology. It's like you got to draw a line. You have to have good boundaries because I have freaked myself the fuck out so many times in bed up at night looking 50 years later. Like
just knowing too much.
Knowing too much.
There is a such thing as knowing too much.
Ignorance is bliss.
Oh,
knowing too much.
God.
Yeah. Somebody the other day was crying on TikTok about their bad memory, and I just want to say ignorance is bliss, y'all. Being a goldfish is so much more fun than being a sad elephant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I go more towards the goldfish side of things.
I am now in my elder years. I used to be so elephant, and now I'm like, let's forget about it.
Oh yeah.
That's how this whole thing works. We're just gonna forget about whatever that was.
Just forget about it. I was saying this to you the other day. I was like floating it as like a line, but I couldn't tell if it made sense. But I'm like, yo, I see this guy Andrew Huberman talking shit about weed because it's like it caused memory problems. I'm like, that's such a gift that we have a plant that could help your memories not
Girl,
be
I'm
so
trying to Men in Black
fucking
myself out here, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what a gift. The past 10 years of my life smoking weed, I've just been with the people that are around me. I don't care about building memories. I don't give a fuck. They're there. They are there.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately,
like, like it helps me cope with life.
Oh,
It helps me get through by
Oh,
just
yeah.
making me a little bit more of an amnesiac.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and being present. I don't know. I feel like it makes me more present.
Definitely. That's so funny, though, Cassie. You overwhelmed yourself. It's so real.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I should know all this.
I
Well,
told you,
should
I
I
got
know?
into lifespans. I've gone into your church where I'm like, I should know about y'all, you know? Like, it's
No,
like,
I know.
yeah.
This
I know. You've
isn't
told us some
appropriate.
stuff.
Well, that's what I was looking at Sean's chart, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to know about this.
What happens? What's the
Basically,
deal?
it's like the dissolving of reality is gonna make you feel very. Like you're gonna have to go with the flow next year or this year. You know what I mean? It was very much like you could either go into a confusion fog or you could ride the wild.
But Saturn is going to be in his third house, which is like so nothing.
What's that?
It's like communication, learning. Like you may have a hard time learning new skill sets, new languages and stuff.
I don't need to.
Confusion frog.
I
But
don't
yeah,
care
you don't
about
need
learning.
to. That's what I'm saying. Second house, we didn't like that. Third house, whatever. I ain't worried about it. But you are you're interesting because like of the two of us, you're very Saturn. But without me, you very much are like a pretty equal worshiper of like Neptune and Saturn.
Yeah.
Like being responsible, disciplined, holding down a grounded earthly presence and like space for other people, but also like forget and
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really an interesting thing. Like we
Yeah.
talked about, you finally saw that movie Banshees of Inisherin.
so
And
good.
I was
y'all,
like-
so good.
I was like, the two main characters are the two sides of my brain, and then I realized I'm like, this probably applies to most people. There's the one part of you that's concerned with getting hard work done and fucking leaving a legacy here
Yeah,
well beyond you.
legacy.
And then there's the other part of you that is like just dying to be in the present moment and build bonds with people and have a great time. And that's the two main characters in that movie. And I'm like, that's my dichotomy. I swing from one extreme to the other so frequently. And it'll sometimes happen for like a year. Like I feel like right now we're in a year of like more that like we need to build our legacy. We can't be.
But pandemic, we were like,
Man,
let's just fucking.
you saw. I mean, the pandemic was like. I think that's why we didn't lose our mind and come out with like permanent like mental health shit like a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I'm super top notch.
Well, we didn't know you
Oh, yeah,
before
we
it.
got our
we
mental
didn't know
health.
you before it. So I'm just like, Mare's good, right? She's all tip top. I'm good. She didn't know us before it.
No, I mean I trust in the flow. I trust in the process of us
Yeah.
being in a K-hole for a year. You
I was
know?
gonna say.
That was just what we needed at the time.
I'm sure it helped us with our amnesia too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That definitely helped with that.
Just helping with the passage of time through K-holes. You know?
Definitely.
You come out just hoping a year had passed. You Rip Van Winkled your life. you come out of a K-hole, you got a long beard, and you're like, oh, thank God this fucking pandemic's over.
Definitely. No, absolutely.
But we haven't messed with ketamine in a year. I haven't done ketamine in a year.
Yeah.
The last time we did it was L.A. last year.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Yeah, I don't crave
We did
it.
a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think we're so similar in that way. Like, it's almost like we knew, like, neither one of us were going to proclaim we're not doing ketamine anymore.
No.
But we both knew we were past
But
the,
I
like,
wasn't gonna do
this
it
is
either.
just some recreational little thing we do. We were well past that point, at least in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, okay, cool. It's 1 PM. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it felt like it was really specific for what it did for my relationship between my body and my spirit. Because before I had ever done ketamine in my life, I would have conversations where I would say verbatim to people I've never had. And I met this girl who I became close with right before I did ketamine, who was very similar to me, almost in a twin flame way, but had these bouts of disassociation that she would talk about, where she would like lose time, like lose her body and lose time, because she was always
Without drugs.
without drugs. Like that was just part of her life. I was like,
spooky.
wow, I can't relate. Like, I'm so painfully embodied all the time. And I wish, and I come from 2 people that are masters of disassociation. And so it's always been something that I kind of like envy because I can't, like, I haven't been able to tap into it. And then I started doing ketamine, and I had that out-of-body death experience on K. And then ever since then, it's a new skill set of mine that I've really enjoyed as being a part of this life.
It showed you the way.
It did show me the way of
Yeah.
how to disassociate, and not just ketamine, I think acid and all the other drugs. I feel very out here. Like I'm like out here. And when I close my eyes and I envision myself, it feels like my body is like 1,000 miles from Earth. And it feels like right now in my life, I need to do earthly things and things that attach me to the realm of Earth and give me senses of responsibility here. And K was really important at a time where I needed to detach, but now I'm like, I'm out here, y'all. We don't need anything else that's going to get me more.
We're in the exact, so, you know, our
Yeah.
lives are so parallel in that sense, because I feel like when we met, you were like, I'm over the tattooing thing, and we're like, we're over the filmmaking thing. And then time goes on a little bit, and a lot of ketamine, and like we used ketamine to kind of dull our passion for our fucking, you know, our crafts.
Well, at the time too, I wanted to train my voice. I probably didn't say this to you, but out loud. But I had been recording, and I was so unhappy with my voice. I was like, I need to train for another year. I'm very real with myself, and like I feel like the way that I train myself and have that relationship, I was like, great. What am I gonna do for a year? And I met you guys, and I was like, this is fucking sick.
This is what we're gonna do.
I didn't know what the fuck it was gonna be, of course.
Thank God.
But K was another thing like that too, where for somebody that's as militant as me about like working and always doing the thing, like it allowed me space and time where I knew there's only a certain amount of percussion you can do with a vocal cord every day.
Yeah.
There's really only a certain amount of training I can do. It's patience and time I have to wait.
Mm.
So it was I got to have my junkie days. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. I have zero regrets.
I wish
No regrets.
I have no regrets either, but I'm at this place where I really wish there was a new drug for me to hang out with.
We're pro.
Drug.
I want a new drug. I'm ready for a new drug.
We're pro new drug too.
I need to party. I'm like,
Well, that was my resolution for this year, to do more drugs and to have more fun. And thus far,
Yeah.
I've done no drugs.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, no, I know.
You can't stop me from having fun, but I haven't done any drugs, which is stupid.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's also great in a way of just like, oh, we have some adventures ahead of us.
Oh,
and
girl, this is my year.
yeah, no, I know it.
This
I
is
can
my
feel it.
Cass is here too.
Yeah.
it's our year.
The Leo risings are coming out, popping out. Cass is gonna have orange hair. Y'all don't even know about it.
Yeah. Shit's about to pop off. I'm going fucking full Leo.
Cass is gonna be the Pamela Anderson of the
Yes.
20s.
Yes. Yes.
Well, of my mid-30s.
Well, I'm saying the decade, the 20s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
You're gonna become so iconic that you're gonna be associated with the 20s
Yeah.
once you premiere your blonde hair.
Yeah. I still think
Sweet.
we could be the world's first iconic throuple. You know, somebody that this week that I tattooed
Interesting.
was friends with a throuple that had been together for 7 years.
Wow.
throuple?
7 years.
I would
I
love
think it's
to
crazy
talk to
how
them.
long we've been together, honestly.
Yeah, Cass is ready for it to be over yesterday.
No, I'm just...
She's like, it's fucking crazy, you know?
Well, thruple years are like dog years. You know?
Are they? They age you more?
I don't know. It's hard to say because, like we were
You
just
just
saying,
don't expect it to, like, you don't have high expectations. You're like, you know what I mean? Coming like into something, you're like, oh, two people getting along is a lot. 3 people getting along is a lot more, you know?
well, there's the part of it that feels like it could, like, and this isn't applying to us, just like objectively. They're like, well, 3 people staying together is hard because at any given point, one person can just be like, I'm out. But when you're in it, it's like, actually, you probably need 2 votes to end anything, or 3. So, you know, I could see how it could last, and I would love to talk to them.
Yeah.
I would, because
It was the same situation. The 2 of them had been together for 10 years, and then the third one came on, and then after that, they like 7 years.
damn, they doubled it up.
Wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
Damn, that's impressive.
Yeah, and they called it. Yeah, they have like a little family.
Do they have kids?
No kids.
They're living. We need
Which
to
I
talk
was like,
to these people.
they called them family. I was like, do they have, is it because they have kids? And she didn't know. I was like, that's cool.
That's really cool.
I have a family too.
That's the way. Honestly, that's the way I think of this. I do think of this as I'm like, this is our family because I know in my head that's how it feels.
Well, also it allows each of us to be the little kid, take turns being the one who
Totally.
needs to be more taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all have our moments where it's like,
Yeah,
Where the other
we need to
2
be
are
babied.
parenting.
Yeah.
it's true.
It's true.
It's true. We're all babies in a specific realm. It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at different times, thankfully.
And we also
Thankfully.
all have the innate capacity to be mothering and fathering. You know, I think, I definitely have both qualities. They go back and forth depending on how triggered I am.
No, it's true. We're all pretty balanced, like masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
We all kind of have all those roles.
Yeah.
Cass is the only one without sibling experience, but we'll let her fucking.
You guys are all fucked up. I swear to God. People think the only children are fucked up. People with siblings are fucked up, man. If you have a sibling, you are definitely more fucked up than the only children you make fun of. No, because you guys have all this,
She's
like...
not making a good case for herself right now.
She sounds crazy.
No, y'all are, like, fucking traumatized.
We are traumatized. Okay.
Oh, man.
It's fucking life
Oh,
is
my
so
God.
traumatizing.
Holy shit.
Well, I tattooed a therapist this week. I need to stop talking about the shit my clients say to me. I hope they don't listen to my podcast.
That could be its own podcast, the shit my clients say to me.
I really could.
Well, because you're in a position kind of, it's like a barber or a therapist. There's the only jobs I could think of like this, where
But
you're
it's
sitting one-on-one with someone for a long time. A barber is not even that long.
But
when you
Mare's
go-
drawing out, like, vulnerability by putting someone in a state of being, like, pained or hurt, or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how vulnerable
It's
are
more
you when
than
you feel
therapy. So of course people come clean about some weird ass
it's
shit.
BDSM.
Yeah, and I'm transitioning you into like a new thing. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
crazy. You kind of, it's like a portal. You're not going to be the same after you left. And,
Yeah.
like,
So spill the tea. What did they lay on you?
well, we were talking about therapy. What were you just talking about before that? I was talking about
Brothers and sisters and being traumatizing.
Yeah, because she works with mainly trauma survivors or trauma victims, I think was the language that she used. And immediately my mind's reaction is, who hasn't had trauma?
Yeah,
Who and I don't mean to be like whatever about it, but it's so obviously trauma and experience is such a relative thing. So everybody feels like they've been traumatized, right? And
Yeah.
had major trauma in their life.
everyone has.
And everyone has.
Being born. Like, let's
Being
just start
born
there.
in a hospital,
It's a
especially
traumatic
very
experience,
traumatizing.
especially if
your
you're born
mom
in a
was
hospital.
probably traumatized during that experience. She was probably
Exactly.
gaslit. She was
Mhm.
probably told not to listen to herself. Yeah.
Mhm.
But at the same time, yeah, it is so the way that you take it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so like you meet those people that will just like only have good things to say about their childhood and their upbringing, and there's always this like part of my trauma reality that's like, is this fake?
Yeah.
Or are they really
Right.
just good at processing life?
Yeah, yeah.
I think-
It's
Or are
hard to
they
say.
really just like good at it?
I think about my grandfather and my uncle because they both were, so my grandfather was in the Battle of the Bulge, and he was... Was that funny to you, the Battle of the Bulge?
I've never heard that before. What?
It was a very significant battle in World War II.
It sounds, yeah.
Yeah, so
sums it up.
he's in the pits, you know what I mean, leading a convoy of, 120 tanks and stuff, and went the wrong direction, had to turn around. But anyway, spending months in a trench, we know,
Yeah.
killing people and getting shot at and all that shit. He went on to live like a pretty healthy life,
Yeah.
you know, after that experience. Like, I'm sure it affected him, but, you know, he didn't seem to suffer greatly. But then my uncle got drafted really early, went into the Navy to kind of not dodge the draft, but to like not be on the front lines. His ship got hit and like in the middle of the night or something and like blew up and like people are jumping overboard and dying and the whole ship's on fire and stuff like that. So that's also a traumatic kind of war thing. PTSD.
Yeah.
My grandfather, this guy, my uncle, on disability, totally fucked up, paranoid, hates everyone, like a crazy motherfucker.
Florida man.
Florida man. And, you know, it's like these two different things. And it's very much about like the context of the trauma.
Yeah.
Like where the control was,
Yeah.
how it happened, when it happened, why it was happening. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was honestly like friendly fire or something that blew up the ship. Like it was like
Oh.
an accident.
Mm.
So in this way, it was like not as aggressive, but it like the experience was totally traumatic for him.
Do you also think that, like, it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, like, how it's framed? Like, World War II, everyone went over there like, we're going to save the world. Whereas Vietnam, which is a generation later, all were raised by the World War II people, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go serve my country. And they all knew they were in a fake war.
Right, yeah,
They
no,
all
totally.
knew it. Yeah, every fucking Vietnam veteran, there's none of them that think that that was justified or necessary in any way.
Well, and also the drugs that they were doing in Vietnam.
That's
like,
true.
think about, you know, doing acid in the middle of a war zone. Like, I
Yeah.
can't think of anything probably more traumatizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we think that it's more traumatizing to be close to violence. I think about this so much with veganism. This is why I left veganism for a second too. But actually, when you're killing somebody, I think it's probably for your body easier to integrate I know this sounds insane,
No,
looking
it's
somebody
true.
in the eyes and killing them versus like you being in charge of the drone strikes and you in a very cold, disassociated way having that kind of power and control.
Those
and then
guys are
having
fucked up.
And then having to digest that kind of inequality and stuff. Because when you're man to man, it's very man to man. And like, yeah, because I think about that with like what I would consider my trauma in my family and stuff. Like I would rather you hit me and throw me up against the wall than like the cold disassociate. I'm going to pay strangers to do whatever they want to
agree.
you. You know, that's a
Yeah.
lot harder to process.
Yeah.
This is like you care about me. This is your own faults, your shadow, your pain. That's like, you know, I don't even know how humans can process like the cold kind of stuff that we do to each
Yeah.
other. And then I think about it generationally, like, is it just context, like you say, which I do think it is, or is it that we're becoming more sensitive generationally? And so like more things are like, even though they were always traumatizing, it's more consciously traumatizing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Going back to Japan, I think I
Yeah.
read somewhere the other day that when they execute in Japan, they have like 5 people hit a button and they don't know.
We do that here.
Wow. That's pretty smart, actually.
Oh, we do that here?
Yeah, we do that with the electric chair. There's like 3 people that hit a switch at the same time, and so no one knows. Same thing with the firing squad. Only one of the people has live round, or or they
Probably
all
so
do.
they can't get paid off too
Yeah,
to like fuck something up or what. I don't know.
yeah,
That's probably happening.
yeah.
Executioner's getting paid off. You're in the mob. You're like, don't flip the switch.
I know, but they're going to make sure you die. It's just how long is it going to take?
It's
It's
true.
so depressing.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the most depressing facts is that we allow the government to kill us. You know, like that there is a level of bad behavior where the government's allowed to execute and take our lives.
That sucks. But what really sucks is the fact that they're constantly always taking your lives and keeping you in prison, like right now, even if you aren't in the prison system.
Oh,
because
yeah.
of them feeding you poison and
Yeah.
And they won't let you take your life. That's, I think, the fact that you can put you on suicide watch and say you're not allowed to kill yourself, or if you try to kill yourself, that's a crime. I think that's fucked up.
it's so fucked up.
I think if you want out, you should be able to get
You
out.
should be able to do whatever you want
Yeah.
for sure.
That was the
With
idea
your
for this
body.
country.
to heal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this country.
This fucking country. And it just gets such a mess. Like I was just saying the other day, like we're just now coming into the place where like it's being widely recognized like, oh, the vaccines didn't work. You know, not only did then it starts. I'm not trying to get you worked up, but like, and then it's because we're strong and we're good, but like, and then it starts as like, not only did they not work, they hurt a lot of people, and it's like, oh, we're coming clear with this now. Let's remember how everyone acted when these things first came out. Everyone went to bat for them and became bootlickers, and including myself. I mean, look. I didn't fucking make anyone take the goddamn vaccine besides Mare. Like, really. I was just like, I'm not allowed to see my sister unless I get this thing. I want you to be able to visit. You know, it was just very simple for me.
Yeah, it was.
It was very personal.
No, he
was very
he
personal.
had more fear because all I was responsible for was me. So you were much more susceptible because you were responsible for other people that were at more of a risk than you and stuff.
And also, like, when we got it, it's like they just cut us off unemployment. I have to work. I'm not allowed to work in this industry, which is just all ridiculous because they basically put us in a position where it's like, hey, if you're not going to do this, you can't function in society. To the point where people were coming for your livelihoods left and right, and these are liberals.
Fired.
They're still fired.
A lot of people got fired.
Yeah.
A lot of people got ostracized and lost friends and just like fucked up, just judgmental behavior. And I guarantee you that most of the people that were passing those judgments are pro-choice.
Yeah.
Yes, pro-choice when it comes to abortion, but nothing else. You know,
Yeah.
The government comes out with a thing and we're like, okay, let's apply pro-choice now. No.
Yeah.
You're out of society. You lose your job. You're a piece of shit. People saying, I hope that people didn't get vaccinated die so people lose their, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it just was a fucked up time. And I just think about, like, now that we're coming out of it a little bit, just the layers of contradiction and the types of people that were, like, rah, in your face, get the vaccine. It's the only solution to this. Like, come on.
Yeah. We're so quick to get right. And then when we feel right, we're, like, so quick to get on a podium.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's when I get the most nervous. Whenever I feel like very passionate and like I'm right, I'm like,
shit.
I know enough now to be like, I need to shut up because I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's why we would never sit here and proselytize even about plant-based diets or like all stuff that's really worked for us. I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. I really don't fucking know. I might have gotten tricked. I don't. To me, the reason I went plant-based was very visceral, like the most visceral moment of my whole life.
Yeah.
It was like I ingested a mushroom that was like, this ain't for you. Like, sorry, you're an ectomorph. Just eat fucking plants, bro. And I'm like, I could listen to that. That's fine. And I have been.
Yeah.
You just have to keep listening to your body because if your body is all of a sudden saying like, hey, bro, like you're missing
meat.
something.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's
Totally. That's fine. I'm all about it too. But, you know, here's what it comes to say for me. Actually, life is much more fun when you're malleable. Mm-hmm. Life's much more fun when you allow for growth and your opinions to change and your emotions to evolve. It's much more fun than being the person who's so stubborn and dug in. You know, I've been that guy.
Yeah.
I've been the guy, like, here's the rules. Here's how I conduct myself. Here's what I know that life to be all about. And it's just not as fun. It's very constricting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with the vaccine thing, I was frustrated because it was like when I was really getting into, like, I'm in conversation with my body. And so I'm just listening to, like, my guts and what they're telling me about my health.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
you're 28 years old and perfectly healthy.
Yeah, and then everyone around you, like just the female experience is everyone around you saying how you feel is not important. And so it just felt like the peak of that in my life of like me for the male guys, for whatever, the self-accepted people pleasing or whatever, giving up that you're like, okay, you're right. How I feel doesn't matter. I'll prioritize however the fuck you want me to feel, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was like a process of getting over that. And malleability I've been thinking about so much recently and how that's really the best piece of my artistry and the only reason why I'm able to continue to do what I do and enjoy my life, because I got diagnosed with depression and bipolar disorder and emotional dysregulation. I'm sure you could diagnose me with schizophrenia now or autism if you talk to me for long enough. ADHD too. I was on methamphetamine salts for several years of my life.
And you're not on anything now.
Yeah, I'm not on anything now. And the only reason...
And she's seeing things in her apartment.
That exists. And I'm seeing things in my apartment. And the only reason... But the reason is because I put mutability... I don't just allow for it. I honor mutability and I put it at the forefront of my identity. you know, so
Yeah.
it means freedom. It means freedom of
Yeah.
expression. It means like I don't have to process the way that I process the last moment and the next moment.
Yeah, you could
And
be like,
God
I'm
damn it, that's
borderline.
freeing.
I'm borderline personality disorder today, but who knows who I'm going to be tomorrow?
I mean, it just opens up the pathway to be less reactionary because you don't always have to show up as the person you once were.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, when I was younger and I was bulimic and I was like with eating recovery specialists and these women were in their 50s that and they were saying, I still deal with it. You're going to deal with it the rest of your life. I was like, just kill me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the
Do it.
fuck?
Get the guillotine out, motherfucker. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing 90% of my day being about like how
Calorie
empty
counting.
can I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Fuck that.
But of course, it's not a second of my day. I don't eat a gram of food in my life in the past. I swear to fucking God, y'all, like 8 years that I'm like, should I get rid of this or do I need to feel more
Yeah.
empty? Like, I have a different brain chemistry. And maybe that's just mushrooms that I've taken. But I think it's continual disbelief, first of all, in psychology and psychiatry and understanding like these are movable states. I am depressed. I don't have depression. Like I am ADHD. I'm not always ADHD. I'm actually the most focused person. I don't think both of you all probably have met in this lifetime. You
Yeah.
know, I can
Yeah.
focus on something for fucking 11 hours if
Yeah.
I need to.
You're
you know?
insane.
I'm insane.
Yeah.
And that's I allow myself to have that gear. That's a gear. Here's another gear.
Mhm.
Here's this gear. Maybe there's a new gear.
But you know, the other important thing is you don't fucking say, you don't hang your hat on any one, well, this is what I am now. I'm a bipolar person living in America.
No.
It's like, if you don't accept that label, I think you can find some solutions to those things that are outside of, you know, the
Yeah.
marketplace.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of this stuff is like antithetical to our creativity. And I know like any sort of reductive science is very validating and humans need to be validated and seen and heard. And so of course these labels are really important for different periods of your life to say like, hey, I'm not functioning how you would consider normal to be. And also like if you are not sick within our sick society, you're fucking sick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
You're
what-
sick in the fucking
Yeah.
brain, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, like if you're a compassionate human being right now, like you're suffering because you're attached to all the other people that are suffering who are starving and hungry and can't pay their bills and are been trafficked. And like, you know, we are all feeling everyone for sure.
The real sick fucks are the ones who
Yeah,
are
or just like, da da da, it's all good, you know, like
it's all good.
no, it's not.
What?
So yeah, and I'm like, fun is so important to me. That's my resolution for this year. I know we're in a hell realm and there's certain parts of the third dimension that are only going to get worse. We're going to this goddamn recession. We're in capitalism. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so many reasons to be sad. And I really am just having to identify with rebellion and funness in my personality.
But there's nothing wrong with you if you're sad. And it bums me out. I actually, like, right after we went to sleep last night, like, everybody was, like, snoring already. And I was getting texts from a friend of mine who is like, we need to get together. I need to take Molly with you and, like, learn some things and grow and everything. And I'm like, wow, this is so special that, like, this person knows to reach out to me and knows that they want to do something. But unfortunately, this person made the decision a while ago to get on SSRIs. So it's like, I don't want to break his heart and be like, we can't do that because I could kill you with Molly if you're on SSRIs. But it breaks my heart because he wants access to more, but he took something that is not good. The reason he's able to function on the day-to-day, not feeling depressed, like able to raise his family and go to work and everything, is because he's on this medication that cuts off the highs and the lows, and it allows him to function. And so he doesn't have access to his full spectrum, but like it's so crazy. It's like his body's calling out for it to the point where he's texting me in the middle of the night after his family's gone to sleep. And I want to help, but you can't impart discipline on somebody or the wherewithal to stand up to their wife who's you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's a good example because I think a lot of times we think about depression just being like a personal thing, and a lot of times it is like your life isn't the way you want it to be. But again, like I think some of us are just so sensitive within this collective of suffering that there's no way to exist here in a human body without just have this heaviness of like it's so hard to get up every day. And then, you know, like we use weed and we have all of these other conversations with other spirits that help us.
the heavy voodoo.
It's like heavy voodoo. Yeah.
You need it.
And maybe you need the heavy voodoo of Western medicine for a second to get you out of bed and to get your stuff done. You know
I
what I
can't
mean?
judge it.
Like we can't. But I think anybody who calls themselves like helping you, it should all be neuroplasticity, right? It should always be like as flexible as possible to be whoever you want to be as possible. And yeah, I think it's hard with these medications to not get stuck in like, this is working for me, and so why would I change it up?
Yeah. I think a lot of people get into them not really fully knowing what they do and what they're doing.
Definitely.
And they obviously help a lot of people
Of
function
course.
in society, and
I'm
not
glad,
go to it's like, obviously it's been a lifesaver. I mean, even your dad is on stuff, and we've seen him go from, I mean, he's still anxious, but he used to be a mess.
Like,
Like
unbearable.
Unbearable, unfunctioning, just the like, despair he was in on a daily basis. You wouldn't wish that on anyone, so for him to have something that he's had a lot of trauma in his life.
Yeah.
And
so much.
a lot of people have had a lot of trauma that is like, the amount of time you would have to take to process that trauma and healthily integrate that trauma is like, some people have a family or have an epileptic daughter that they have to care for and don't have necessarily the
They have
space.
jobs, they have careers, they have responsibilities. The fact of the matter is, like, of course this stuff is ubiquitous because mental health struggles are ubiquitous, because that's the name of the game here. And who has the time to have the focus and discipline to get their mental health in order?
Yeah.
Who even has the wherewithal to admit it to themselves?
You're totally right. It's the time, because without the medication, that portal, like all of those fires of getting up early to meditate and work out or whatever you need to do to try and process that in the therapy, a lot of people don't have the time in their life just because of finances or family or whatever.
You would quit your job if you did it. You know what I mean? If you're like, okay, I'm having a mental health crisis, I need to make some adjustments here. The thing you would quickly realize is, oh, my career is sapping all the joy out of my life. Going and renting my life out to someone else, it's actually not help. It's having repercussions on my mental health. So these things keep you in the workplace.
Yeah. I'm forever sad girl, support sad girls, always going to make sad girl music. But yeah, I'm definitely on some fun girl shit recently.
Yeah.
And some like, you can't fuck with my fun shit recently.
I love that. I'm very excited for this chapter.
We rely on it.
And I think that's also talking about a throuple and talking about relationship, why relationships like ours can work. And the reason our relationship has worked so long is because the releasing of expectation of, like, as much as we want to put ourselves in a box and be like, I'm a Leo rising or Taurus sun or whatever this means, or Sean's a Cancer or whatever, those are limiting, but they can also help you kind of navigate energy. But then there's also, like, you have to maintain a level of wonder and unpredictability. Like, I have to, in order to be with you guys, in order to enjoy it, I need to know that I don't know what's going to happen next, or who you're going to be next, or what, like, because then it's like a process of discovering not only myself, but of discovering you guys, and not holding you to the box of, like, Mare's always like this, and I need to be scared of Sean because of this, or, it's like, we're meeting each other in new moments, and, like, the person that I am also affects the person that you guys are, and vice versa. So it's like, we are always doing this, like, alchemy and this dance of, like, how do we together come to the most fun place, and how do we have that shared vision, and then how do we get there and be excited about what it's going to look like, because we couldn't possibly know, And so, I don't know, it's really, I think that it can be honestly a disservice we do to each other, is kind of like, oh, you always respond like this, or you're always like this, or
you've always been like this, and this is how I always want you to be because it makes me feel more comfortable.
Yes, that's so big. That's so big.
How many times has someone cried out for help to us and for a psychedelic intervention, and their wife or partner puts a stop to it? And why do you think that is?
Because they don't want them to change.
Exactly. You're not going to be doing any growth that I'm not responsible for, and
or that
I
I'm
can't
not
control.
doing with you. And I understand that fear. Like, it would be challenging to have a partner have such a more expansive view of their consciousness, and then I do think it would be kind of difficult for one partner to go through intense psychedelic healing with the other person resistant to that.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my conversation with that therapist 2 days ago, was just that people change.
Yeah.
And, like, the people in my life have changed so much. My mother growing up was textbook bipolar. My mother now is like a saint. You can't crack her. You cannot crack this bitch. She is toxic positivity at another level. Y'all don't even know about it. You know what I mean? Like she is a heat-seeking missile mining for any and every good thing in life because I've fucking drained her of everything else. So people really do change. Like, and it's a big part of my artistry is I'm always championing that. Like, I want to validate where everyone's at. You know, like I really do support you doing whatever you're doing. But if my mother can change, you can change. And if I can change, like
you change loving your mother. You know,
I changed loving my mother. I used to be somebody that like I had like cutting problems when I was a kid, and that like it's just crazy. Like it's just crazy how much we change and how much we can step into different roles and the fullness of ourselves. And it's the most exciting thing. It's the reason I keep being me. It's because I know I'm going to be different tomorrow. Because I can be fucking frustrating, but I'm Mare 3 years ago, I don't even know who that is. So who knows who Mare in 3 years is going to be, you know?
I mean, wouldn't that be the crushing weight of depression is the feeling like this is never going to change?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be the seeds of suicidal ideation? Like, it feels like this right now, and it's always going to feel like this.
Yes. The control thing, I love that you brought that up because I heard somebody say this week, self-sabotaging really is just a way because we're, in all of this chaos and we're just trying to organize that you can control the outcome. It's like the one way your conscious mind knows what's going to happen when you self-sabotage.
So if you fuck it up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You control it.
Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen. Yeah. And we're always trying to avoid the unpredictable. She could kind of almost probably...
Because there is, like, everyone talks about it because you're like, okay, like the fear of success. Like, what if you actually are good at this thing?
Yeah.
What if you actually do apply yourself? What if you actually do show up and do the work that you need to do to be the guitarist you want to be?
Totally.
Because then the sky's the limit, and that's very scary. But yeah, because you see what happens to people who are successful. You know what I mean? You're like, they get eaten alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You see what happens. And so we have these negative stories around money even. Like, oh, well, rich people are ungenerous. So you're like, well, I don't want to be rich because then I'd be ungenerous. You have these stories that you kind of have to, for better or worse, deprogram because you get to write your own story.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. I did not believe my parents that I self-sabotaged until they showed me this movie of me at like 6 years old. Just crushing this running race. I'm like 15 feet ahead of all these bitches. Just fucking. I was tall, I was just killing it.
Powerful.
And then it's very obvious that I intentionally make myself trip before the race ends.
Oh, no, Mare. You couldn't handle winning.
I couldn't handle it. I literally couldn't handle it. Well, but the thing, and then I think back to sports and stuff because me and my brother were both very athletic, but he always had like a little bit more success. And I was so paralyzed in this. If I try my hardest, people are going to know if I fail, I suck. But if I seem like I'm not trying my hardest, and I think we're all doing that on so many different levels.
Career. If it doesn't seem like I'm trying that hard, people are going to really lower their expectations and watch these things and be proud of me.
Yeah. But what if you actually try? And then it's all on you when you fail,
Yeah.
And I think we're all just, we're very avoidant naturally. We love giving our power away. Ooh, do we love it? Delicious.
Oh, my God.
Me choose? No, thank you.
Oh, my God.
Please choose.
Yeah, the decisions and stuff. Like I feel like that's why you need to have like designated time where it's like, all right, I'm the decider. Now you're the decider. We can't always be all the pressure to be the decider.
Yeah.
Except when you're in my life. It's the worst.
Well, I mean...
That's why I have split personalities. And I'm like, producer Mare, what do you think?
The ultimate magnetic pull here in America is, and the thing you have to avoid at all costs, is the pull towards victimhood, because it is a true currency here. Everybody, in almost every conversation, if you pay attention, is trying to describe some reason that they should be garnering sympathy from you. And a victimhood narrative, and here's who put me in this situation. Look, we fucking do it ourselves, and spend so many episodes of this podcast talking about being the victims of capitalism.
It's true.
And we are, and we are. But okay, so once you stake claim to that, then what? What are you gonna do?
Totally.
So it just feels like almost like a pull towards just like a very useless emotion in you. That is actually going to make you stagnate in the person that's a victim.
Absolutely.
As opposed to being the person that fucking makes changes and does what they have to do to fucking get more in alignment with who they really are. Take
Well,
off the masks.
Yeah. And unfortunately, on the other side of that, when you do step into non-victimhood and you start making decisions, you're innately a villain.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't like about it. Even if
yeah.
you're amazing at making your decisions,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Half people don't like you because you're choosing now. You're the one choosing. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like...
All of a sudden you're a bully.
Yeah.
I went from being like, I went to being like, oh, Sean's victimizing me, to being like, oh, I'm a villain.
Yeah.
I'm actually very much a part of my relationship,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually designed this fucking crazy world that I live in and co-created it, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, we both we're all participating equally, you know,
Mhm.
no matter what role you're playing, you know, you're kind of consensually participating.
Yeah, it's like, do you
You're
want
doing
to...
what you want, whether you admit that to yourself or not. Like,
Exactly.
you're doing what you want.
It's just how active of a role are you taking in it? Are you taking an inactive role in it? Are you taking a back seat and let someone else drive the narrative? Or are you taking control of your thing?
Well, because there is like this level of consent that you, in order to like, in a lot of modern relationships where there's a power imbalance,
Yeah.
we are in a modern society where you can order an Uber and get the fuck out of your relationship. For the most
Yes.
part, 90% of relationships, you can order an Uber and get the fuck out of your relationship. I'm sure there's situations where you're held captive and you can't.
There
But
should be an Uber service specifically for that.
Y'all,
They show
if
up
you
with
had
a
heard
bigger
that
truck.
my last Uber that I took out of our relationship,
Oh man,
fucking hilarious.
it should be a recording.
It should be a recording.
he was like, I felt like as he was pulling up, he's like, I'm gonna have an interesting story about this life. So he was like giving me a real long look as he pulled out. He's like, who is this chick that's making this girl cry?
He was really taking it in.
Sure, Mowgli, come on up. We
He
love you,
was.
bro.
Come on, bro.
Where do you want to go?
That's fine. He knows.
He
I love
knows
him.
who to go to. Do you guys want to switch over to the Patreon and get a little more personal?
Yes, Mowgli.
Yeah, sure. I feel like we started 5 seconds ago. Are we already there?
I don't know. I can't. My eyes are blurry.
Yeah, I guess we've been doing this for an hour.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk about. I'm glad that we just buzzed through an episode because I want to talk about what we just shot, and that experience.
Oh, yeah.
We shot a new thing that I don't want to talk about on the public thing yet, but join us on patreon.com/churchofchill. We're going to do some dabs and talk about a profound healing experience that we were just a part of and that we filmed. So I think that's super exciting. Our Patreons like pay whatever you want, so it's not like a cash grab thing or whatever. But I think it genuinely helps people to find the other like-minded heads that are out there,
Yeah.
and they're all in our Discord community that you can access through the Patreon.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to pull a card?
Sure, I'll pull a card for the collective.
For the people. For the people.
For the people.
Oh, Mowgli, you're too cute, man. I wish you were facing the other way so that people
Yeah,
could see.
and I know
Turn
you're going to
around.
release this.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
What? Come on. Keep it going.
Well, I just I'm going to put all these songs out this week, and I want to link my SoundCloud, but I think you're going to do it before I put all of them out.
Well, people won't watch it right away, and it'll be in the description. And
Yeah, listen to Mare's music, and if you like it, share it with people, because it's really hard. It's really hard to make music and get it out there and get it heard. It's a tough thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this batch I have going, and I love feedback. I love to hear what people like and what people don't. It always surprises me. Like somebody just went back into an old song of mine that would be mortified, I'm sure, to listen to, but then commented on it. So I love direction. I'm very mutable. I'm having so much fun in this apartment making music, so I'm excited to share what I have going on.
And we're excited to share what we have going on. I'm just being a little coy about it on the YouTube special.
Yeah.
But yeah, join us on Patreon, patreon.com/churchofchill for part 2. See you on the other side, y'all.